Welcome to all 10 of my viewers. Today I want to move away from the timelines and the statistics. I want to talk about the aftermath of the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, I do understand that it is a tad early to be thinking of the aftermath. I am of the belief that the steps we take once this begins to subside will be the most important ones. So, what will happen after COVID-19? I think people will go and vote. The average American citizen can feel removed from politics completely, evidenced by the fact that America has one of the world's lowest voter turnouts of all the developed countries in the world. We trail Slovakia, Germany, South Korea, and more in voter turnout. Even Australia, an island literally full of criminals and kangaroos and giant spiders, has a higher percentage of registered voters. Studies have shown that 9 out of 10 congressional races were won by those who spent more money. Yes, we all love the underdog story. Dodgeball was a great movie.
If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ball. What?
David triumphing over Goliath. But in American politics, this is just not how it works. One would like to presume that if a candidate runs on a good platform and wants to help people, what will stop them from getting elected, right? Right? Well, sure. In an ideal world, yes. But this is America.
This is America.
An indirect or representative democracy. This means we get together and cast our votes as a collective for the person we believe will represent our interests best. The problems start with campaign finance and vested interests. Instead of wasting your time in trying to explain it, I'm going to play a clip from Ross Scott's Deus Ex Game Dungeon video, where he explains how our system works.
See, a rich person with an agenda pays lobbyists to influence politicians to get laws passed that further his agenda. That politician gets reelected because he has the money, and the cycle continues. Now, unlike Deus Ex, that agenda isn't to take over the world. At least, I don't think. Instead, it's usually some flavor of changing laws so that businesses said person owns or is invested in become even more profitable, at the expense of pretty much anything else. That's the important part. That's what leads to all the other problems. And by rich, I'm talking Scrooge McDuck or Richie Rich, rich. If you're not on a first-name basis with multiple representatives on the national level, you're not even on this chart. And meanwhile, besides fueling politicians, said rich person may simultaneously fund media organizations or think tanks to promote narratives or even propaganda to try and get the rest of the public thinking the way they do, or at least suppress or obfuscate dissent.
Also, Ross uploads some of the best content on YouTube. If you haven't already seen his channel, Chris Farms, I highly recommend you do, and hopefully I'll be able to do a long-form video about why I'm so obsessed with them soon. So, why am I of the belief that people will go and vote? Simple, because the issue at hand is exigent. This is not the debate on climate science or education or healthcare. Civilians are quarantined. Unemployment claims rose by 3 million people just last week. Schools are closed. Hospitals are at capacity. Citizens need relief, and they need it now. COVID-19 has exposed many holes in the system that we currently operate under. More than a few jobs that previously required being on site are now being done online. The same goes for undergraduate and graduate classes. And now people are wondering aloud, why were we not prepared? Sooner or later, the blame will fall at the feet of public representatives. Sure, Trump may try to blame China, although he seems to have moved away from that rhetoric for the time being. But ultimately, our systems were woefully underprepared for a crisis of this nature, and those responsible for gutting public infrastructure and not listening to the experts will pay the price. COVID-19 is costing lives. Some of the same individuals who openly played down the seriousness of the pandemic have been forced to quarantine. Looking at you, Matthew. If you make it, try to stay off the road, huh? And chances are strong this will lead to them either not running for re-election or getting voted out of public office. This creates vacancies that need to be filled. Because this pandemic has affected almost all facets of everyday life, your average voter will have to care. And that is why I think people will vote. Now, this part is wishful thinking, but maybe, just maybe, people might even take the time to become knowledgeable on a candidate's history and policies. Maybe people won't just vote for whomever throws the most dollars at the television set. Maybe, just maybe, HBO will renew Spawn for another season. A man can dream. Thank you for watching. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a like if you didn't enjoy it. But definitely subscribe and enjoy the rest of your quarantine.